Hi and welcome to this screencast that is an introduction to the Creating Sample Sets for GrandOrgue screencast series. So this is just to give you an overview. GrandOrgue as such is a sample-based pipe organ simulator. What that means is that in itself, GrandOrgue is only the software that handles interaction with a sample set that models an organ. So in itself, GrandOrgue won't make any sound at all. You have to open or load an organ in order for it to be playable. That is why you have in the GrandOrgue wiki, you have this line, where when connected to MIDI keyboards and an audio system, it can accurately simulate the sound of a real pipe organ. Actually, since it's a sample player, you could sample anything, that is, record anything and have it played back. But GrandOrgue is specifically tailored or adapted to be a pipe organ simulator. So for that, you will need sample sets to actually be able to create any sound. And this screencast series will be just about creating sample sets for usage in GrandOrgue. So, if we have a look, I have done quite a few sample sets myself that are freely available for anyone to download and use. So what makes up a sample set? If we have a look in a sample set folder, basically a sample set is just a collection of files that will be usable for GrandOrgue, and this organ file is what tells GrandOrgue how it should put all these thousands of files together to something that is actually playable for GrandOrgue. So in a sample set, this organ text file is necessary. To have any sound playback, you need samples, sound samples, audio files actually. And as written here, these are supposed to be wave files, and they can have kind of different quality settings, but we don't go into details about this right now. But important is that it needs to be wave files. Optionally, when we distribute sample sets, to reduce the size of the sample set, we can wave pack these audio files. Not everyone does that, but some does, and if so, you might need to restore them to their original wave, unpack them to the wave original file format in order to make any adjustments to the samples if needed. So, how you organize a sample set is basically up to you. There is no enforced setting, but it is wise to use some kind of method that makes it easy for you to handle. For instance, here we have folders or directories for each stop in the organ, and in these folders you have files for each key and note for that rank. And you have extra releases in subfolders or subdirectories. In some sample sets we have subdirectories for tremulant samples when they are recorded. You may have multiple attacks and you may have multiple releases. This is just for increasing the realism of the sample set, the model of the pipe organ. At a minimum, you would need one sample to make any noise at all. But usually we try to sample each and every pipe, or if a stop rank has multiple pipes for each key, then you would have them played together. But we generally try to sample with as much detail as possible. And we will go into details about that procedure later. For now it's just to know that, okay, this is the basic layout. You might have images. If you sample an organ, it pays off to photograph the organ and document as much about it as possible so that you can create nice graphical representations of this, so that you have different... This is of course not necessary to do, but if you're doing something that is so intense as creating a sample set really is, it takes a lot of time to do, then you might as well go the extra mile and make it as faithful as possible. Of course, there is nothing that prevents you from artificially create samples instead of recording them. That's perfectly possible. And you may have a imaginary instrument created and not a real existing one. But to be honest, there are other softwares that can do that, and probably maybe even does it in an easier way than GrandOrgue would do. GrandOrgue is unique in the open source software world for being able to very, very accurately model an existing real pipe organ, and makes it quite wonderful actually to use, depending on your hardware setup, of course, which you interact with it with. But it can be very, very nice. It's not the same thing as the real instrument. Let's be honest about that. It's a recording. It's a model, if you would say. And as such, it's always open for interpretation. We will go into details about some of the ethics or aesthetics about creating sample sets, because there is no right or wrong really. It is different approaches and what you want to achieve that is dictating what path you may take. So additionally, there might be a few other files. If you want to create packages, you will have kind of this organ index file. You may have sample set that have, let's see, I don't probably have it here. Let's see some that would have it. You may have organ info files, which is kind of for usage in a browser, web browser. But the most important, of course, for a sample set is having the organ file as such and the audio samples recorded. That is the most important. The other things are optional. So that is basically it for this first overview of a sample set. Sample set is just a collection of files, and we do it to kind of model a real pipe organ within the digital world. So that is it for this time. Thanks for watching and see you in future screencasts. Bye!